Hello, YouTube. Today I'm going to talk about Pearl Harbor. Now, I mentioned this a little bit in some previous videos, in the one about 9/11, and I just thought I'd go over it. Now, this is Teddy Bear he's a puppet that's used by a puppet comedian called Straussman. So I just want to acknowledge that. He doesn't do very much, but we got him from one of his shows. He's Straussman, I think. Anyway, I think he might be Australian, but I'm not sure the nationalities of some of these comedians. Anyway, and so first off, Pearl Harbor. I'm factual bits first, obviously, and then I draw my opinion. So facts, for those people that don't know, Pearl Harbor was, I believe it still is, American or USA military base situated in Hawaii, in Pearl Harbor. And, so I don't think you can go there, but in World War II, halfway through the war, the USA was not involved in the war; they were neutral, and Japan bombed Pearl Harbor. And as a result of that, now the death tolls, depends on who you ask, anywhere from 9 up to 5,000. Pretty big variation, but that's with different people have had different numbers. Someone died, and they definitely had a lot of military that was destroyed. And as a result of that, there was essentially a public opinion poll in USA, and they all changed their mind and said, "Hey, let's go to war." After that, of course, USA, that was the turning point in World War II. It's a major turning point. Without USA's involvement, Germany and Japan were probably going to win. They were winning. They were winning by such a big margin that Germany attacked Russia. Russia were not neutral. Russia were on Germany's side. So that was sort of saying, well, we're so far ahead, we can afford to attack Russia, who we don't really trust. And they attacked them, and they probably would have won, except for then suddenly they're at war with USA, and so they lost. Now, without that attack on Pearl Harbor, as I say, from what most people have said, Germany and Japan would probably have won. Had they won, of course, arguably, I mean, Hitler would have been the world leader effectively. USA staying neutral would have probably been treated reasonably well by Germany and Japan. Australia being on the other side, I mean, here in Australia, we would have been treated pretty badly. We would have been, I'm not sure what would have happened, but it certainly wouldn't have been good for us. Neutral people would stay neutral. Switzerland was neutral. So USA was neutral. And of course, had USA somehow lost, and if they'd attacked USA before Russia, USA would have lost. So had that happened, USA today would not be a superpower at all. They would be very poor and impoverished. There's there's a lot of speculation about what would have, but there's quite a good TV series out there called The Man in the High Castle, which is imagining USA lost, and presumably that's imagining that Germany didn't attack Russia. Now, the claim, according to what's on Wikipedia, I suppose I'll say, I'm not going to say that as the official story, but what's on Wikipedia, according to that, Japan underestimated USA. Oh, if you believe that, you believe this is a real person. I think that's about how smart you are. No, it's not true, obviously. USA were neutral, and you can look at Hitler's documents about USA, and he was considering invading USA, but he decided to invade Russia instead. So the reason he didn't invade USA was that he believed that USA would remain neutral throughout the whole war. So it wasn't a matter of underestimating. USA were very powerful. They were definitely behind Germany and Britain, and probably behind Japan as well. But they were up there. If USA had headed into the war from the start, it would have been close. I don't know who would have won, but it would have been close. But USA entering at the time that they did won the war. We wouldn't have won the war if not for that. So if you think that Japan attacked USA because they didn't think USA was strong, you're smart as this fellow. Okay, you're not thinking. You're not thinking. I mean, they knew. I mean, it's not like USA power wasn't known. They knew. Of course, they knew. I mean, it might have been a little bit off. They might have thought, well, you've got a 1.4 million military, but you've actually got 1.5. I mean, a little bit off. It's like Germany going to Russia. I mean, they thought they could win it in 2 years. It was probably going to take 3. I mean, still, they would have won. Germany were going to win in Russia, except for the distraction of the war in USA and USA's involvement. I mean, you're not, when you have a major world war with strategists out there, you're going to know with a reasonable degree of accuracy. You're going to be a little bit off every so often, but you're not going to hide something as powerful as USA and mistake it for the power of Australia, for example. Australia, I've said before, we're a small country, not particularly important in world terms. And that's, you're smart as this fellow, and this is why I've got him there, Teddy Bear. Hello, I'm Teddy Bear. Oh, probably got the words wrong. So anyway, what Japan, I mean, if you'd instead argued that Japan attacked Pearl Harbor because they didn't think that USA would declare war because they were so committed to neutrality, that's a different topic entirely. Perhaps there's an argument for that. Now, I don't need to speculate, so I'm not guessing. I haven't said any theories about this. I'll just explain why. That's obviously not the right story. It was declassified 50 years later, so 1990, 1991. We know what happened. So there's no need for anyone to guess. Okay, we know that USA had rolling trade embargoes. So essentially, and I'll just dumb this down here, essentially by being neutral, USA were happy to sell oil to both sides, to Britain, to Germany, to Japan. And what they did was that they said, just as a huge Japanese fleet were going through to refuel, they said, oh, we don't want to let you refuel with us. And they did that then, and they said, oh, you can go a little bit further down. Japan went a little bit further down. Oh, I can't do it there. A little bit further down, a little bit further down, a little bit further down, a little bit further down. And so that essentially it got to a position where Japan had to go through Pearl Harbor in order to get to the next stop. And then Pearl Harbor said, come anywhere near us, we'll bomb you. So USA was still neutral theoretically, but essentially what they did was they said, if Japan wants to stay in the war, you'll have to bomb Pearl Harbor. And we know this. It's not in dispute. I mean, if you go to Wikipedia, you can't put it in, and that's another strange little question again. But we know this. We know this. This is factual. This is not an opinion. This is not my opinion. It's not. It's declassified information. We know this. There's no disputing that. So we know that USA wanted to enter the war. What's the payoff? A massive payoff. I mean, they went from being like 4th or 5th strongest country to the most powerful. They won a war that probably would have been lost. They've got to be heroes. I mean, you've got huge payoffs. Look at everything USA has had since World War II, and compared to what USA had before, the difference is enormous. And I think that realistically, the people that planned those trade embargoes to force Japan to bomb Pearl Harbor knew, or at least had some idea, that this sort of situation would probably happen. And it was a brilliant tactician. It was a great idea. It worked. And the people that died, no matter what amount you believe, from what I've read, what I've heard from the declassified, they knew that they were going to die for this greater good, and they sacrificed themselves. So they're essentially the same level as kamikaze pilots, or I don't want to say suicide bombers because that's with a terrorist group, but they're people that died for the benefit of the USA, and they should be regarded as heroes if you're American. Now, there's a little bit of conflicting reports whether all of them knew that was going to happen or only some, but either way, that bit hasn't been declassified. But anyway, so that's Pearl Harbor. Pretty simple. If you don't get that, you can be a stuffed teddy bear like Teddy Bear. and you can believe Wikipedia. Now, the next part of that is why we're still lying about this now when we've got declassified information that we know for sure what happened. Why are we lying about it now? I mean, can't blame James Cameron. He's allowed to make a fictional movie that happens to have a historical point of reference. He's allowed to make a fictional movie. So if we're saying, oh, well, he released that just as the declassified information was becoming popular. I'm not blaming James Cameron for this. I mean, I have my views of James Cameron, but suffice to say that having a Pearl Harbor movie that presented it in a fictitious way, look, why is Wikipedia? I can make another video about Wikipedia, I suppose, I will at some point. But yeah, I think that they had a reason to want to lie to everybody about that, and they're lying, and it's not helpful to people. And you know, if we want to look at it factually, there's lessons to be learned there. There's lessons to be learned from saying, hey, people do have killed their own people, or at least they volunteer to die for this greater good, and it has happened. And Pearl Harbor's not the only example, but it's perhaps one of the most well-known examples, and that has happened. So when we're talking about, for example, 9/11, people that are saying that they killed their own people, well, they do that with a payoff. There was a payoff for Pearl Harbor. There's no payoff for 9/11, so it obviously didn't happen. We know it didn't happen, but it did happen in Pearl Harbor. So that's just a fact, and there you go. That's my opinion. The only part I can put my opinion on is why is Wikipedia lying about it. I think it's basically the main aim is just keep people dumb. Make sure that you guys don't panic too much. Keep you dumb. I mean, there's no messages from Pearl Harbor if you take the old story. I'm not going to say the official story because the official story is what I just said. That's the official story now because we've had it declassified. There's no conspiracy theory. There's no nothing. But the old story that they were told at the time, if you want to follow that, there's no message from it other than, oh, Japan shouldn't have attacked such a big country. I mean, are you a teddy bear? Are you that smart? I mean, it's hard to believe that USA, that the general people believe that at the time even. I think they were just overcome by passion and manipulated quite a lot. But it never made sense. It was never a story that made any sense. The declassified information said exactly what we thought it would say, which was that it was planned, rolling trade embargoes. It was a cleverly designed ploy to get it to happen. So Teddy Bear here says, congratulations to Wikipedia for making people as smart as him. There you go. And for people that rely on Wikipedia, congratulations, this is you. That's the only controversy with Pearl Harbor. Otherwise, we know the facts. They're not in dispute. I mean, they are in dispute if you're believing Wikipedia. Oh, dear me. Or if you're believing James Cameron's little movie. Yeah. So this doesn't need to be any longer. So there you go. And Superman t-shirt I've wanted there too from Warner Brothers. It's DC Comics is now owned by Warner Brothers, I think. Anyway, yeah. So Superman going out there, it's as realistic as Superman. It's as smart as Teddy Bear. There you go, all you smart people out there. So there you go. Declassified information. You don't need to theorise this. You don't need to work things out. Declassified information. The only thing to work out is why are people still believing this lie? Why? Do you not have access to declassified information? Do you not know how to use Google? Do you not know how to search things? You're so certain of something that is an absolute lie that makes no sense, that you're going to defy things that are factually proven. Is that what you're going to do? I mean, you can be defiant if you want to. Teddy B's defiant sometimes. Yeah, all right. See you then. That's all for me. And Elephant teddy bear. Bye. Okay, bye. I can't remember his voice, but anyway. Okay, bye.